Getting the front derailleur height and alignment correct is the foundation of excellent shifts. As a professional bike mechanic, I've set up tens of thousands of front derailleurs over the last 40 years. It's not guesswork or luck. I know how to position them for best shifting results. The most common mistake I see from both shop and home mechanics is fiddling with the limit screws or cable tension to try and make the derailleur work properly. This is the likely reason your front gear shifting still sucks. But there is a step-by-step process all competent bike mechanics follow to set up front derailleurs. And once you learn it, your shifting will go from just okay to super slick. This is the same process I use to make my race bikes better than my competitors. Welcome to stage 14 of Tour de Bike 2024, where I'll guide you step by step through setting your front derailleur height and alignment perfectly, so you can finally enjoy smooth, crisp shifting without the headaches. Stick around, because at the end, I'll show you how moving the derailleur up or down within the recommended guidelines can improve your shifting even further. Plus, there's an extra tip for manipulating the derailleur to eradicate particular shift problems or make the shifting even better. This really is one of those times. You've just got to become the bike. Take the tension off the front gear cable by either loosening the adjuster or disconnecting it from the pinch bolt. Get the derailleur at roughly the right height by loosening the fixing bolt and wiggling it up or down for a clamp type like this one, or slide it for a braze-on style. I was setting front mechs up 1 to 3 millimeters above the outer ring over a decade before instructions were readily available. For me, the ideal is usually bang in the middle at 2 millimeters. Do the bolt up tight enough so it won't move when the cable is pulled. It is much easier to get the height correct before the alignment. You can usually loosen the bolt enough and realign without affecting the height. Keeping the alignment correct while it is loose enough to move up and down is pretty tricky. Pull the cable so the mech moves outward to see what the gap is from the bottom of the outer plate to the top of the tallest tooth on the outer chainring. You can just use your hand to pull the derailleur outward if you disconnected the gear cable earlier. An easy, practical check can be done by running different size Allen keys in between the two. The manufacturer's supplied guide sticker on the outer plate can help to see if it's close. By the way, if your bike still has the sticker on it, it's unlikely the mech has ever been adjusted to make it work optimally. For me, this poses two questions. One, why don't shop mechanics at least move the derailleur to a position within the guidelines in front of them? And two, why don't they take the guideline sticker off before handing the bike over? I always ditch the sticker once the height is in the window because it makes a rubbing noise on the chainring and a ticking noise on the crank arm every revolution. If it isn't at the right height, repeat the steps until it is. I'll come back to the height later to explain the benefits or problems caused by the derailleur being set higher or lower. Once you're happy with the height, loosen the fixing bolt just enough for the mech to move from side to side, whether that be around the tube or on the front mech hanger. With a clamp style, I do it by grabbing the back of the derailleur cage with one hand and turning whichever way it needs to go, and assist the turning with the hex key in the bolt. You may want to use the tool hand to hold the body and push or pull in the same direction at the same time until the outer plate is in line with the chainring teeth. Once it is visibly straight, retighten the fixing bolt. I find it easiest to check this looking down from above and also looking along the derailleur from the front of the bike. To check it will be straight when operated, pull the gear inner so it moves over the outer ring. If there isn't enough inner cable available, you can use the shifter. If you're not 100% certain with a visual check, place a metal ruler along the top of the outer ring and operate the cable. Again, if it isn't in line with the teeth, back the clamp bolt off a little and redo until it is straight. Then check it is still at the same height you set it before you had to do the alignment process. Once you're happy with both, tighten the clamp bolt enough so the derailleur won't move under load. There are exceptions to these alignment instructions. Some recent Shimano derailleurs come with a frame support screw. Shimano advised to set the outer plate so the rear end is pointing towards the frame 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter gap to the outer ring, and then tighten the support screw to straighten it up. Either way, it needs to end up in line with the outer ring. SRAM yaw derailleurs have marked lines on the inner plate and the top as guides. Let's have a look at the benefits or problems caused by the derailleur being set higher or lower. It's easy to overlook the amazing job a perfectly set up front derailleur does when it's seen from above. Shifting up is where most work is done. The chain is lifted by the section of the inner plate it comes in contact with through the shift. The chain is first pushed sideways against the outer chainring. At the same time, the inner plate lifts the chain up and places it onto the outer ring, while the outer plate stops it dumping onto your cranks. It does a similar job shifting to the smaller ring, bending more than you could hope to do with your hands. The rules for front derailleur height and alignment haven't changed in my 40 years of setting them up. But it is even more important now because the derailleurs come with shaped plates or skid inserts to make the transition from one chainring to another quicker and smoother than ever before. If your mech is too high and or the outer plate is tailing towards the bike, you're looking at the chain derailing over the outer chainring. This is both dangerous and very likely to scar your shiny chain set. Even worse than that, being too low could see it foul on one or more of the chainrings. Besides jamming up, your derailleur and frame could pay the ultimate price. To keep costs down, all derailleur manufacturers generally make a one-size-fits-all bikes in a particular genre. But not all bikes in the same genre are made equal. Sometimes the rules have to be broken or at least favour to one end of the guidelines rather than the other. If after the setup you find the upshift is problematic, you can try lifting the derailleur a small amount to aid the transition. Often I do this to my advantage for a customer who wants to run chainring teeth combinations outside the recommended limits of the mech. Moving the mech further down in the range will aid shifting from the outer to inner ring. Be aware, moving the mech up or down to improve shifting one way will hamper the shifting the other way to some degree. Let me show you two advanced front derailleur manipulations to make it shift better one way or the other without affecting the opposite shift. I've not seen this anywhere on the internet, and you certainly won't find it in the manufacturer's instructions. Before I do, a quick reminder, this is stage 14 of a 21-stage tour around any new bike showing all the shortcuts taken at production and final assembly to cut costs. If you haven't already checked the previous stages out, take a look to see what else needs attention on your bike before it's too late. In stage 15 of Tour de Bike 2024, we'll be visiting both the brake and gear cable areas. I'm going to show you why brakes and gears on a new bike need continual adjustment and an easy way to stop it. I'm going to be bold and say 98% of professional and home mechanics don't do this. The way to get better shifting just one way is to manipulate the plate that is doing the work for the shift you want to improve. For upshift, it's the inner, and downshift, it's the outer. I'll show you the two easiest adjustments you can make to each of the plates, as the advanced class is definitely a whole video in itself. To make the derailleur shift better upwards, you need to bend the nose of the inner plate towards the big chainring. When you do this, you'll need to support the rear end of the derailleur to make sure the nose bends and the pivots don't take too much stress. Front mechs are tough, so there's no need to be a princess about it. In order to make the mech shift down better, you need to bend the outer plate towards the inner ring. The bend needs to be where the outer plate first contacts the chain when the shift down is initiated. This one is much easier to do. However, it is also easier to mark the shiny stuff. A piece of thick handlebar tape or similar is a good idea to make sure it doesn't get scratched. Do not go mad making these adjustments because it will create other problems if you overcook it. Put it in the same perspective as the manufacturer's height guidelines. Their range is basically 2 millimeters for shifting up and down. A front derailleur plate bent 1 millimeter will make a significant difference. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a video about advanced front derailleur manipulation. Getting the front derailleur height and alignment correct is the foundation of excellent shifts from one chainring to another. To finish the job off, you need to get the limit screws in the right place and the cable tension correct. And if you haven't set the range screws correctly for the rear derailleur, only half your setup has a foundation for slick shifting. Click one of the videos at the end to sort out the basics on your rear derailleur, or the other one to master the indexing of both mechs in one video. My name's Ashley Malcolm, and I can't wait to see you in stage 15 of Tour de Bike 2024. Until then, thanks and take care.